Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, guests. As Secretary for AM Lockport Toastmasters, I now call this meeting to order. Good morning. If you're able, can you please stand with me and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Thanks, Larry.
Good morning. As Secretary, I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for being here this morning. And we appreciate your dedication to communication and leadership skills. At this time, I'd like to ask if any officers or members have any announcements.
Yes, Tracy. Come on up, Tracy. Thank you. Fist bump, hug. I don't know, whatever we're doing.
Yes.
I haven't seen you.
So everybody should remember that next week is our holiday party. Please, what I do, one of my favorite traditions at Christmas time is to make my son dress up with a red sweater and all his cousins. He hates it. So I think here at Lockport AM Lockport Toastmasters, we should all wear our ugliest holiday sweaters. I know, I'm going to embarrass you all. Please wear your ugliest holiday sweaters. Please come forward with your holiday poems, your songs, whatever. If you would email me this week, there will be prizes for the ugliest holiday sweaters. And somebody was so great. Eric made a great agenda and sign up for next week. Please email me if you're online. We'll be singing, we'll be wearing ugly holiday sweaters, and we will be eating cookies. So thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Are there any other announcements?
I saw another hand go up, I thought, but maybe I imagined that. Was there another announcement?
Please speak up.
Okay.
No, if there are no other,
maybe at the end.
if there are no other announcements and hearing none, we'll continue. It's my pleasure to introduce our Toastmaster of the day, who needs no introduction, of course. Please join me in welcoming Kate Orr to lead today's meeting.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. It was a bit icy and dicey and windy coming in today, so we had a bit of a slow roll coming in. I would love to share the roster of who is in our space together today. We have coming so early, Len and Mark and Steve, Jill, Mary, myself, I'm Kate, Bridget, Mike Florio, James Sacco, Tracy, Larry, Sam Giambattista, and anyone else on person slip in. I think I got us all. I know my mom said she's on her way, and I don't see her on Zoom, so I think we'll have a few stragglers on both Zoom and in person. Help me out on Zoom, folks. So far, I have Darcy, Sylvia, Maggie, David Jones, Carol Ann, Yang, Marshall, Mike Licata. Am I missing anybody? I did say Carol Ann. We're making sure we have you, and David Jones. Great. Okay, that's so far. And like Tracy said, next week is our holiday party. You can come in Zoom or in person, and we'll have a lot of fun. There is a regular meeting scheduled. Tracy is the Toastmaster. I am your table topics master, and so I'll call on everybody to fill the space as we need to, but there are the traditional opportunities. Since when Gerald, Dr. Stevens, was our president a couple years ago, he had seen another club do a regular holiday party and meeting, so that's an option. If you'd like to get any of your projects done, if you'd like to be an master, quote master, anything like that. It's a little looser, so the sign up that Eric prepared is going around. I have a clipboard, or that's fine. So you can sign up if you'd like any of those roles, or if you'd like to maybe share a poem, maybe share a song, maybe share a Christmas story, Hanukkah story, a holiday, any kind of experience or memory, traditions. That's the kind of day to expect. And I see Marty just signed on Zoom. Thank you, Marty, for joining us today. You have an agenda, those of you in person, those of you on Zoom, of course, you can look on the agenda on the website. They've added, the free Toast Host and Toastmasters added a couple of options how to print the agenda. So explore that a little if you would like. It goes front to back. And what I neglected to do was fill in the theme. And so the theme is, if you didn't see it already, since I'm filling in for Marshall and we swapped and he will be Toastmaster in January instead, today's theme is contest prep. We are just a month away from our January contest season. And guess what? In February, I will be the Area 11 and Area 12 contest chair. So I have signups for that date already as well. And we will have 2 prepared speeches. And our third speaker today, a few weeks ago, we watched the second place world champ of public speaking of Toastmasters. Today we'll watch the first place champion as our third and final speech, and no evaluation for the third speaker. Thank you for everyone for your flexibility as we massaged the schedule. Any questions about housekeeping, please let me know. I'd like to lead a toast. May we all either participate in contests, compete, or assist, or come as audience. Here we are, Toastmasters. 2 contests. Cheers, salud, solange this morning. I would love to go right down our roll holders. And Marty, we gave you some time. Are you prepared to lead the inspiration?
Yes, I am.
Fabulous.
In the early 1930s, when Toastmasters was started by a man named Ralph Smedley, Ralph Smedley was very encouraging to members about joining not only Toastmasters, but competing in the club contest, as Kate mentioned. With that said, I can attest to the fact that contests, not only at the club level, increase your comfort, maybe even stretch your comfort level, but definitely increase your skills and increase your self-confidence. And even though it was over 100 years ago that he said that, I believe it still holds true today. And I can attest to that as I've participated in many of the different contests that Toastmasters offered. So as Kate mentioned, definitely get involved in the upcoming contest. Thank you. Back to you, Kate.
Thank you, Marty. Our word master is on Zoom. And Young, I think it's your first time as word masters. I saw you, but now I can't see you. Oh, there you are.
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Today's word is articulate. The meaning is able to express ideas clearly and effectively. Thank you. Back to Madam Toastmaster.
Excellent, Yang. The word of the day is articulate. To speak clearly, to enunciate. We'll add it to the board if we can get to that. And Yang will keep track of the use. And after table topics, Yang, just tell us if the contestants qualified. You don't have to give a report on everybody. At the end of the meeting, report on everyone else. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But we'll guide you.
Okay.
Okay, and go ahead and
Thank
mute yourself. Thank you, Young. Our master also from Zoom. Darcy.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I'm the master today, and I'm going to be counting the ahs and the ums and all those filler words when you can't articulate what you want to say. Madam Toastmaster.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Darcy. And our grammarian, back to Maggie on Zoom.
Good morning. I would like to articulate the work that I will be doing today. I will be listening as a grammarian to help you become more effective and expressive communicators. I'll be listening for strong, creative use of language, as well as opportunities where we can improve clarity, grammar, and word choice. And I'll report back to you at the end of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Maggie as grammarian. Our quote master. He's a very busy man and he was traveling all week, and being Toastmaster today was not in the cards. So he volunteered to be Toastmaster in January instead. Are you ready, Marshall, as our quote master?
Yeah. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, and thank you, Kate, for replacing me to the TOD. Today, I want to share a Chinese philosophic story. Mr. Sai loses his horse. I hope I can share it in an articulate way. A long time ago, an old man named Mr. Sai lived near the northern Chinese border. One day, his horse ran away. The neighbors said, "What a bad luck." But Mr. Sai said, "Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good." Months later, the horse came back, bringing a strong wild horse. All the neighbors said, "Such good luck." Mr. said again, "Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad." Later, Mr. Sai's son tried to ride the wild horse. He fell off and broke his leg. The neighbors said, "What a terrible luck." Mr. Sai still said, "Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good." A year later, a war broke out. All young men of the village were sent to fight, and all of them died. But Mr. Sai's son stayed at home because of his broken leg. The story tells us misfortune might be a blessing in disguise. It's a little like Job's story in Bible. Thank you. Go back to Madam Toastmaster.
Misfortune may be a blessing. What an excellent lesson. Thank you, Marshall. Our jester today on deck is Mike Florio. Mike. Make us laugh, Mike.
Madam Toastmaster. Now, contests are tough. You know, they can be very tough. And I once submitted 10 puns for a joke contest. And I really thought I articulated, and I thought at least one out of the 10 would win. But sadly, no pun intended. I worked that one really hard too. I'm going to fire my writer.
Engaging humor pathway. See in your future. All right. We have added to the room now. We have Dave Licata. And did anyone else join in Zoom? It sounded like it. Beth joined. My mom joined as Table Topics Master. Great. All right. Our timers, our Zoom masters today. Thank you so very much. Would you like me to explain it up here? Okay. Len and Mark are covering our timing today. We have a longer speech first. Jill's is 10 to 12. I believe we're doing 10, 11, and 12 on the lights. Is that fair? Okay. 10, 11, 12 for Jill. And then our icebreaker. You can go any length you like. 30 seconds, 30 minutes. We've seen it all. Jump right in. We're goals at 4 to 6. So see what you like. And they'll put the lights on. 4 minutes green, 5 minutes yellow, 6 minutes red, and you decide your pacing as you fit that in. Then we will see the world champ first place. The video goes almost 8 minutes-ish because the introduction. And I want you to see the introduction, but when we get there, I'll explain more about that, since several of us in the space were there in person in Philadelphia, and it was amazing to see. And okay. So let's see who our quiz master is next and on deck. Let me get out of Steve's way. Steve Smith, our quiz master.
Thank you. My job today is to see if you are paying attention. So I will be listening throughout the meeting, which means I have to pay attention and come up with a few, half a dozen, whatever I can come up with, interesting facts that I hear and see if you were hearing them. And I'll quiz you on this all later. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. How about our general evaluator? I should have, when you were up here earlier, had you introduce your role today. Madam GE, Tracy.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. As general evaluator, I will be watching to make sure the meeting goes on as scheduled but I'm not the timer, and I will be evaluating the evaluators. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. I will give my mom a little time to get situated as Table Topics Master because I can't see her. I think she's probably ready, but I have filler, as I always do. Last week, I promised that I would bring around the first quarter schedule of 2026. Holy moly, it actually happened. I know last time it was a little bit late. Now, the way it works for any of our newer members, your name is listed, the dates are for the first quarter, which means January, February, March. We blocked out the contest date because we can all come, but we'll be participating and not signing up for traditional roles. But I have the sign up for the actual contest. But you X yourself out if you know there are any dates that you are unable to attend. That's the most important so that we have more work on the front end, so we have less work each week as we go. And then if there are special projects or roles that you'd like to give, you want to give a speech on a certain day, or because of a path or just your wishes, you'd like to be Table Topics Master on a certain day. And I'll piece together the best I can. Those of you in the Zoom world, I will also email this out in the coming days. And please respond in a timely fashion so that Mary and Eric and I can get this situated ASAP. Reminder that usually we say, come to AM Lockport Toastmasters every Thursday except Thanksgiving. Or this year, because Christmas and New Year's are both on Thursdays, right? Next week is the holiday party. Then we have a week off again. And then we have a week off again after that. And then we're back on in January. That's what the schedule reflects. And we will meet for breakfast after the holiday party next week, but that can be sorted out next week, depending on who comes. And I was going to say something else right then that I'm not sure what. Oh, so if you have corrections to be made, your email has updated, you changed jobs, your phone number has changed. Our 3 newest members, we are inducting next week at the holiday party, so please come for that also. Bridget, Sam, and Jim. Did you say you prefer Jim or James or both? Jim, okay. Okay, great. I feel the same way. I get Catherine and Kate and Kat and Katie. I've been it all. Some people don't realize that Kate is a nickname for Catherine. Not in this club. You all seem to know those things, but it's confusing in my career. My email says Catherine and people get confused. In any case, Bridget, you're already on here because you were already on here for the quarter, but I don't have your contact info set. So just fit it in if you could. And then Sam and Jim, I don't do amazing formatting like our Excel master Len, so you're at the bottom, but we'll make sure that you're in alphabetically. And it's alphabetical by first name because that matches the TI website. And it's a heck of a lot easier for us doing admin to follow along. So see yourself, and this will be passed around. And also, I'm waiting to see if can you share screens and bring Beth on so I know that she's set for table topics, because we'll get to table topics shortly once I know she's situated. Are you situated for table topics? Because I can do this other filler later and we can roll in to table topics.
I think I'm ready, as ready as I can be when I overslept.
So Mom and I went to my niece's chorus concert last night. She sang a solo. It was lovely. Weather wasn't great in Williamsville. So she stayed the night saying, oh, it's just 15 minutes from the YMCA. I could drive there. I had to go home. Well, she's at their house right now. It's all good. And so she'll give 3 of you the option to speak. Did you already hear who's in the space or figure out who you're calling upon? Or would you like me to state who's here again? You see who's on Zoom, probably.
Len very nicely sent me the list of who doesn't have jobs. So I think I'm ready.
Mom is ready. The timers will time 1 to 2 minutes. Reminder, green at 1, yellow at 1:30, red at 2, and wrap it up. I'll stay right here to guard the lectern and hand it off. Okay, to you, Beth, Table Topics Master.
Okay, Kate, just one question for you. Bridget is doing her icebreaker?
Sam, Bridget did hers already.
So Bridget could do table topics.
Yes, ma'am. Bridget, come on up. Sounds like you're first. Come on up. And the word of the day that Bridget very kindly supported Yang in here by prepping it wherever I articulate. Okay. She'll ask you a question. And reminder for table topics, you can answer the question, you can make it up, you can flip and just talk about something else and use the word of the day. I'm going to raise the microphone so that I can articulate and be heard.
Very good, Bridget. I would have had it down also, so you know that. My question for you, are you ready for Christmas to come?
Okay. Thank you. Question is, am I ready for Christmas to come? That's yes and no. I have quasi decorated in my home. I have started to make ornaments for my children. If you had heard my icebreaker, I enjoy woodworking and I use a lathe, which turns wood super fast. And you take this very sharp object and you run it across the wood and you make it into things. And I'm making ornaments for my children and their fiancés. So I still have to finish those. And I'm making other wood gifts for family members, sister, brother-in-law, niece, and so forth. So that's why yes and no. I have wood, I just have not made it into anything. We also have to go grocery shopping. And that's probably about where I'm at. With regards to the spirit of Christmas, yes, I am in the spirit of Christmas. I enjoy the camaraderie, the friendship. I'm looking forward to sending out some Christmas cards to some new friends, and it will be a joyous occasion. I'm not sure what else to say, so I shall wrap it up. And I hope I articulated clearly enough so that everybody understood what I was saying. Thank you. Perfect.
Very good. Thank you. My next contestant, Sylvia, are you there?
I am here, Beth. How are you?
Good morning. I'm a little behind the job, but I'm getting there.
Good.
My question for you is, do you go south at all during the winter? Are you looking forward to that if you get to?
Not during January and February, but March at times I do. I go down south to Florida. I have a son that lives down in Orlando area, and we go visit him for a week or at least a long weekend. And it's usually the weekend of my birthday. It's a way of celebrating my birthday and getting out of the cold of Western New York. March, it's still cold and icy. The place he lived before, Sarasota, I liked better than Orlando. Orlando's too touristy. And Sarasota was more relaxed. You had the Gulf Coast, which was nice. You had the breeze, the ocean, and it was just pleasant. Of course, he didn't like it because he said it was too many retired people. So there we go. And I'm hoping I'm getting my articulated words out clearly. That's one of my downfalls. Do not speak clear enough, articulate the words, pronunciate. So yes, I do. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was telling my husband maybe Arizona, not Arizona, but maybe Vegas would be a nice place to go in January. So we maybe entertain that someday.
Very
This
good.
topics.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and Kate, now I only have to do three, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And is Marty there?
Marty had a role. He was
Oh, okay.
inspiration. I think we have others that don't have a role, if I'm correct.
So
And
does Larry have a role?
Larry McKenzie, you're being tapped. Come on up, Mr. McKenzie. You've done this before.
A few times.
Maybe once.
Yeah.
Hi, Beth.
Hi, how are you?
Delightful.
Oh, of course, always. My question for you is, are there any winter activities you participate in that you enjoy?
Well, winter activities. One of them is trying to keep warm. I must say that during the holiday times, it's one of those times of reflection for me. And one of the things I look forward to every year, which I will be partaking in on Tuesday of next week, to the point where I canceled my neurology appointment. And I said, wow, I need to basically change my appointment. And the reason that I needed to change it was because I have the opportunity to go with my good friend Dave and a few other people. We go to the Sportsman's in Buffalo to see the big band Christmas concert, and it's a lunchtime thing. But my appointment was for 2:00, and I said, I've been waiting 3 months to go in because I need to see my neurologist. So I called them. Have you ever sat on hold forever? I sat on hold from my house all the way to Niagara Falls. I got to an appointment, and it finally said, oh, would you like to leave a message? Hit number 2. Nothing happened. So I had to wait for it to recycle and go through number 2, and I left a message. After 38 minutes, I went in to my appointment, turned my phone off. When I came out, missed call. They called 2 minutes after I'd hung up. So I got in my car and I said, ooh, I'll call them right away to reschedule my appointment. What happened? Well, when I called, they answered and said, thank you for calling. Our offices are now closed. Please call back on Monday morning. This was on Friday. That was a fun time. So I called back on Monday. Hit number 2 right away. Nothing happened. Hit number 2 again. Left a message. Within a minute, they called me back. I said, doesn't anybody answer phones anymore? And she said, well, we're so busy that we usually just have somebody go to voicemail and then we'll return the call right away. I said, oh, I waited 38 minutes on Friday. But I articulated it very well to them. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Larry. So I think I am all set, right, Kate?
Sure, I can handle the wrap up. Looks like we have a
Okay.
timer on deck. Len is ready to give our timing report. And then Yang, you'll be next with the word report and see if those 3 did what they should.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. All 3 of our tabletop contestants qualified today. Bridget, I was sleeping, but I know you were below the cutoff. So I don't have your exact time. Sylvia came in at 1:43 and Larry was 2:08. So time-wise, everybody qualified. Madam Toastmaster.
I appreciate Len's fist pump, especially during the season of illnesses. Oh my goodness, and we're around lots of people. So let's keep the germs at bay. Okay, Yang, do you have a word report? How did the 3 topics contestants do? Just that for now.
Sylvia mentioned twice. Laurie mentioned one time.
Bridget, did you say articulate? And Bridget too. Okay. All 3 qualified. And then at the end, Yang, report on the rest of us. Did we articulate through the meeting? Okay. And thank you, Mary, stepping back in as immediate past Sergeant at Arms. She offered to collect your ballots, or if you are on Zoom online, our Zoom masters will take care of that. Okay. I was looking at my notes to prepare for the contest prep season. And I looked back at last January 2025, and our chief judge was Jackie. And I'm so grateful that she is, and still is, kind of a guardian angel of ours. And I think in the coming years, we will continue having stronger and stronger contests because Jackie is looking down on us as a many-year chief judge. And when I thought of first, who would I possibly be able to fill her shoes and who could be chief judge? And my first thought was here first before me this morning. And Jill agreed to be our chief judge for the January 22nd contest. So I'll serve as your chair and your MC. And the contest themes, do you remember? It's always international, which is inspirational speech of some kind. And humorous. Humorous is the other contest. I will be sending around a clipboard during the entire meeting to take signups. Now, can people sign up to be a judge? Yes, but can it be shown on the paperwork? No, because judges are anonymous. Only the chief judge is known. So I have listed, would you like to be another roll holder? Because that will include timers, ballot counters, etc. And so please fill yourself in as a contestant for either or both contests. Again, either or both contests, you can compete, as well as a role if you are not eligible to be in the contest, and if you are not interested in being a contestant. Please ask me at the end of the meeting or anytime, text, email, call, keep me on speed dial if you have questions about contest support, contest questions, etc. And again, it's the club meeting, the club contests are all held in January, and any winners at the club level move on to the next level, which is area, in February. After that, in March, the division contest has yet to be announced for the date. It'll be March or early April. And then save the dates. Reminder, what is May 1st and 2nd this year? May 1st and 2nd. The district conference and contest in Buffalo, Niagara. Please write it down. I should have written it down on your agenda. May 1st and 2nd is possibly the way the last District 65 conference, because we're merging with another district, and that district, it goes into Connecticut. And so we're connecting with Albany, Connecticut, and do you think that they'll do a district conference all the way here in the West again anytime soon? I think more central in like Syracuse and Albany. And so let's really showcase. Am I on the committee for the conference? Of course I'm on the committee for the conference. I'll be handling the check-in and registration. So if you have questions about that too, and we should really show them a good time here in the Buffalo Niagara area. It's at the Buffalo Niagara Marriott, May 1st and 2nd. More to come about that. Did you have an announcement for now, David? I'll go ahead. Home field advantage is the reminder from David, and how you continue on. Division A is going to show off, and I'm excited about that. Let's move into our speaking portion of our contest. Is our first evaluator, Mike Licata, ready to introduce Jill? Mike.
Good morning, Madam. Excuse me. Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guest this morning. Jill is speaking out of the innovative planning pathway. It is the completion of the path. So the purpose of this project is to reflect on their growth during their completed path. Mr. Timer, the time is 10 to 12 minutes. And Madam Toastmaster, you do have her speech title, correct?
I do. Thank you, Mike. We have Jill Roaring. Finally, path completed. Finally, Jill Roaring. Fist bumper. All right.
Thanks for your patience as I got myself ready here. My journey on the innovative planning path has been full of starts and stops. Back when I finally spoke up and joined AM Lockport in May of 2018, I took the members present by surprise, because as many of you know, I had been attending as Steve's guest for quite a while. I settled on the innovating, then the fun started, I had to choose a path. I settled on innovative planning for my first path. I didn't know how long it was going to take me, but I figured it would take a year or two, maybe at most. I had to start somewhere. That start was my first speech, of course. Samantha's doing hers today in Icebreaker. Icebreaker is supposed to introduce you to the other members. And I did just that. My icebreaker was very cathartic to me. I opened up about some of my past that few in this group knew about, that I'm a survivor of domestic violence. As I was writing my speech, I wondered about my evaluator. Would Chief Larry Eggert see past the victim and the crime and be able to give an evaluation of the survivor that I now was? I think he did, but I was so numb and relieved from finishing my icebreaker that I don't know that I remember. The challenges continued as I progressed through the path. Not as quickly as I thought it might be, but slow and steady wins the race. I gave a speech on invasive plants and introduced the members to the ugliness that Phragmites disguise. I used 2 speeches to learn about evaluations. The club members learned a lot about construction equipment with these 2, and then I was ready to evaluate. At least I thought I was. That first one was a disaster. It wasn't even an open-faced sandwich. I left the bread out completely. And I told myself to get better, which I did. But I always seem to get on the agenda with members like Mark and Len and other excellent evaluators too often. So it was quite a long time before I actually got my best evaluator ribbon, which I was really kind of proud of finally. It made me happy that I did actually earn it. Over the next 2 years, I gave speeches that regularly put me farther in the path. I was progressing. I talked about the horse's hoof and the role in the fate of the kingdom using some visual aids. I told the story of what it takes to get the icy shoreline ready for the all-cap polar bear day. I'm sure that opened the eyes of everyone who was present that day. Of course, I did the leadership style and the mentor speech. We all have to do those, every path it seems. I taught the members the value of compost. You know, the simple dirt. Hopefully at least one person was inspired to start letting decomposition work its magic. By then, it was the end of 2019. I had a local Wilson project that fit very nicely as my high performance leadership project. Arbor Day 2020 and a celebration of trees in the village of Wilson. Everything was progressing fine. Not only was there a plan to have an event at the end of April, but Celebrate Wilson group that I was a member of was going to get seedling trees and distribute them around the town and village for people to plant them and hopefully reforest Wilson. We got the village of government to proclaim Arbor Day in Wilson in April, which is always the last Friday in April, by the way. We plan to order tree seedlings from the Soils Department of the Niagara Cornell Cooperative Extension. They have a seedling sale every year, as do Erie County and all the other counties around here, where they sell seedlings sometimes in specific little packs, most of the time in packs of 10. So if you want 10 sugar maples, you're fine. If you only want one, you're out of luck. you're better just planning on going someplace and buying one. But what we did was we bought a bunch of these tree seedlings and we split it up so people in the village could buy tree seedlings from us and plant them. The residents ordered the trees from us. We placed the order and then had to do a second order. Things were going swimmingly. We'd also prepared a grant application for the William Maine Community Enhancement Grant that the county does to help with the tree cost, along with whatever events would happen for Arbor Day. Then we all know what happened in March of 2020. The pandemic. The world shut down. We had to stay home. No gatherings. No events. No Arbor Day event. But we were still going to have all those trees that had been ordered. The soil services also had the same problem. We were supposed to pick them up a week before Arbor Day, which, like I said, is always the last Friday of April. These are bare root dormant tree seedlings. They take them out of the cooler, and once they start warming up, they start thinking, it's spring. Let's get leaves. Let's get alive. So we weren't going to be able to just sit on them. How are we going to get rid of these trees so that they don't die if we don't get them out to their new homes? After numerous discussions with the mayor, because this actually had to be done on a legal basis, because that's the way things were going then, we encouraged the people to come to my home to come get them. So Steve and I were entertaining lots of people coming to buy trees. For about 3 weeks, we had to coordinate pickups while maintaining a social distance. And some people, this was really important. Other people, it wasn't so much. But even then, we still had about half to be picked up. It was determined to have an open air pickup day behind the town hall, which actually it was the end of May, beginning of June, I think, when we finally had this. It was a very simple day of just spreading them out to the rest of the community members that had ordered the seedlings. It was not an event. It was just a day. So what did I learn from my project? That things don't always go as planned. That's for sure. That it doesn't matter how ironclad you planned for something, you may have to pivot. Of course, this was an exceptional change to the world. I don't think anyone could have anticipated the events of 2020 that did not happen. I'm glad I didn't have some of the bigger events that got canceled. I know Plantasia, which is a very, very major event, was scheduled to run the week following. Talk about a problem canceling things. I'm grateful that our event sort of transitioned to a non-event. I'm glad that it wasn't the scale of other things that got canceled that year. But I still had to finish the innovative planning path. We're getting back to that. We all know AM Lockport was initially shut down. Of course, I think we all thought it was only going to be a few weeks at that point, didn't we? Before things got back to normal. But thanks to the genius of Len and Larry, AM Lockport was finally able to get going again, but on Zoom. I have to honestly say I truly hated Zoom for speeches and for table topics and almost everything. There was no feedback from the crowd. You know, you're you're there and everybody's muted, and it's just difficult. And so now there was a significant gap in my path progress. I had completed my high performance leadership project, but finishing the path just wasn't happening. In fact, I barely looked at the program for a while. And when I finally did, I looked at the electives for level 5, and I hit a wall. Oh, and by the way, I still hadn't finished level 4. So I did what any normal person would do. I avoided it. And I decided to start a new path. I settled on presentation mastery, paid the $20, and 2 days later, Toastmasters International sent out an email offering everyone a free path. So I started persuasive influence too. But what did I learn now that I had 3 paths open? To do the finish your path aspect every time after I did a speech or other project. I would forget which path I did something on and where I did it. After all, you can't finish a level until you do all the paperwork, or in this case, computer work. Last year, I decided that I would do a question and answer session on the perfect apple pie. That will fulfill the requirements for level 4. How to get the best speaker ribbon for a day? Feed the members apple pie, which I did at the beginning of January 2025. That level 5 wall was now staring at me in the face. None of those electives were easy. I decided that the prepare to speak professionally was the one I would attempt to complete. But an 18 to 22-minute speech, what could I possibly talk about? And how are we going to get it scheduled so that our meeting ended by 8:30 a.m.? I finally settled on something that could be expanded to meet the time requirement. And a week appeared with empty speaker positions, which allowed me to be the only speaker that day. Of course, I automatically won Best Speaker that day. I thought I was done with the path. Yahoo! Until I got online to do the paperwork. And I discovered that I still had one more speech to complete the innovative planning path. Another long speech, although today's is only 10 to 12 minutes, and it still requires a longer time slot, and it looks like I may not make it. Reflecting, I think my speaking abilities have improved tremendously. I am more confident that I can speak and articulate in front of a group. I even created and gave the sermon message in my church back in October, and I'm scheduled to do it again December 28th. Vocal variety will always be a challenge for me, especially in the morning. And I'll always have problems with it without my cheat sheet and script. The lupus brain fog is just too present and blocks the words for my voice at times, unless they are written down in front of me. I finally have finished the innovative planning path. Onward to finishing persuasive influence and persuasive mastery. Stay tuned.
Here you go. Bravo, finishing your path. Oh my goodness. Woo! We have a beginning path and an ending path today. And those of you on Zoom, we had a standing ovation because that was a level. Oh my, that was a path. That was a project. Thank you, Jill, for giving us that recap. And now we will move on to our icebreaker, the beginning of a path. And David Jones, are you ready to introduce Samantha? Do you prefer Sam? Do you prefer Samantha? Sam, okay. You can come on up on deck. David, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. And Kate, I'm sorry to hear that once again, your district and my district are having their conference on the same weekend. So fortunately, I won't be able to make it up. But Sam is working from her presentation mastery level 1, her icebreaker for 4 to 6 minutes, Mr. Toastmasters. And I will turn it relinquish control of the lectern to you, Kate, to introduce her title. Thank you.
All right, Sam with her icebreaker. Icebreaker, Sam.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Samantha. My hair looks pretty bad. John Batista. I'm gonna spend the next few minutes talking about myself, which, full disclosure, is not my favorite thing to do. But here we go. I'm 35 years old. I'm a mother, wife, and full-time RN. I've lived in Lockport most of my life, since I was 5. Graduated from Starpoint, went on to UB for nursing school. Graduated in 2012, also met my now husband that year. We celebrated 10 years of marriage this year. We have a 7-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son. We have a chocolate lab and 2 cats. Also, that's an interesting story for another day. Shortly after getting married, we bought 3 acres of land in the town of Lockport. We wanted to have more space. So just to articulate what 2018 was like, we were set to start building our house in the spring. Our first child ended up being due in September of 2018. So that was quite a chaotic year, with my husband doing a lot of work on the house, me packing up our old house, and hoping to be in and settled before September, which we did end up doing. My second child, just to reiterate on the topic of the pandemic, was due in December of 2020 during the height of said pandemic. It was a very interesting time to be a pregnant nurse. But all jokes aside, my children are my greatest joy in life. As a family, we enjoy doing a lot of camping, taking our camper to various state parks, Sunset Bay occasionally, and down to the southern tier to our friend's property. To elaborate on my career, as I said, I graduated in 2012 and started my career at Rochester General in the medical ICU. That is not the typical path for a new grad to start in critical care, but I wanted to challenge myself and gain invaluable experience. So I did that for 2 years, then went to Mercy Hospital in South Buffalo, continuing critical care for 2 more years. My eventual dream was to work at Roswell, though, which became a reality in 2016. I started in the ICU there and then transferred to my current position in the perioperative unit, which I've been in for almost 8 years now. This role encompasses rotating between ambulatory surgery and recovery room. So that is what I do. This position has been really great for me because I still use nursing skills, but I have a really great schedule with no weekends or holidays. At the beginning of 2025, I decided I wanted to set a goal for myself to run a half marathon. So I'm happy to say I did complete that. And my running buddy then convinced me to run a second half marathon under the logic that if we run 2 half marathons, it equals a full marathon. So we never have to do a full. So I'm happy to report we did 2 of them this year. Another goal I decided to set for myself was joining Toastmasters. A main driver was being asked to stand up in my sister's wedding next year. So it occurred to me that I'm going to have to give a speech in front of a lot of people, and I want to do it well. So it was about time I did this. I think it'll help me in my career with public speaking and in my personal life. So I'm hoping that I can succeed in this area like I surprised myself with running. I learned a lot from running, that you have to pace yourself, control your breathing, and just keep moving. So that's all. And coming back, you get standing over here. That's clear, that is great.
No sorries in Toastmasters. Excellent job. And look at that standing ovation, 2 standing ovations today, completing and starting a path both. Oof, did that a little loose. As we are moving into a video speech, would you like to do the timer report now, or did you want to also time the contestant speech? I don't know if you have a preference, Mr. Timer today. He's coming for a timer's report. All righty, great. Thank you, Lynn.
Well, of course, both of our speakers, polished as they are, were able to articulate within the given time parameters. I had Jill at 13. Oh, I'm sorry, Jill went long. Again, the coffee's just not kicking in today. Jill, you did go long at 13:49. 12 was your cutoff and 12:30 with the buffer. Sam, of course, qualified at 4:21, falling within the parameters, although we don't count the icebreaker time-wise. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
So no voting necessary. Sam is our winner for the day. I would like everyone in the room to still use the ballot. At the top of the ballot, it gives you the opportunity to leave a note for our speakers. We will have ample time for that today. So if you could leave notes for both Jill and Sam, Mary can pick them up or you can hand them off directly. And if those of you on Zoom would like to email the members, reminder that everyone's emails are on our website, on our Toastmasters Lockport website. Congrats, Sam, on both finishing your icebreaker and 10 years. My 5th anniversary is tomorrow on 12/12. So 2020 was a year. Thanks for the recap for both of us. That was quite for both of our speakers today, reflecting on the last decade or so. Got married in 2020. It was supposed to be November, and then COVID changes. My niece and nephew were in my wedding. They were little at the time. Now but they were little, and the teachers had COVID, and the Erie County Health Department called my sister to quarantine everyone in the home the week before my wedding. And I had some decisions to make. Originally, the wedding was supposed to be hundreds of people, and then it wasn't. It had to be, 50. I'm only getting into this for filler because we have a moment. I am going to next summer, Wally and I, will have the party that we didn't get. We'll be doing a 5th anniversary vow renewal next year sometime where you all will be invited like you should have been that fateful year. And so it will be a take 2 in the summertime. Okay, I also, before we get into our contest speaker, I am, you know what, I'll do this afterwards. Let's get right into our third. I know our Zoom masters were prepared. Reminder to send your Zoom masters details by Monday prior if you have something to share, like a slideshow, like a video. I did by Tuesday, so I was a little bit late this time, but none of this the morning of the meeting. It's very complicated. So be kind to your Zoom masters. So I will introduce the introducer so you know who he is. Stefano McGee is amazing, and he is our next international president, and he was the MC for this contest. He is out of Boston, and he will visit someday probably, but he's a very, very busy man, and he's a great guy. I'm very excited to see what his next year will bring. So that's who is the MC, who will introduce the speaker. They do a quick mic check, and then it rolls. That's why the video is 8 minutes. All right, let's listen. And I will sit down for this.
Sabyasachi Sengupta. Just nod. Just nod. Sabyasachi Sengupta.
Thank you, Contest Chair.
You're welcome.
I love you so, so much. Mwah. I was talking to the stage. If you're wondering, you should know what the stage does to us. This is that one safe space where we can be creative, weird, wacky, right? Give me a little hoo-hoo if you love the stage. I knew that. Because when we're up here, nothing else in this world matters except this stage, our craft, and our audience. But do we often take this performer energy into our day-to-day lives? Or we think the world will judge us, label us, maybe even laugh at us. Contest chair, Toastmasters, and my performers in this room and all over the world, for me, finding this stage was not easy because I grew up in India, where my dad told me I have 3 career options: to be a doctor, engineer, or be a disappointment. But disappointment had its own hierarchy. Like if I'm in a corporate job, I'm least disappointment. But I wanted to climb the Mount Everest of disappointment. I wanted to be a Bollywood actor. You're a Bollywood actor, right? Fix the bulb, pat the dog, fix the bulb, pat the dog. That kind. But I never had the courage to tell my father, because if I did, just like any other Indian dad, he would say, actor, somebody is going to get a beating. So I knew the dream to be an actor was too far. But life, like a Bollywood movie, had its twists and turns, and I ended up in a city called Amsterdam. And one day, while I was attending a boring finance lecture, I thought, what if I gave myself this chance to be an actor? Next day, I skipped class and I went for an audition of a play, Romeo and Juliet. I wanted to be conservative, so I went for the role of Romeo. The director looked at me and said, "You want to be a Romeo?" You know why? Because there were 20 other actors, tall, chiseled jaw, and enthusiastic. And there was me, enthusiastic. You want to be an actor? Okay, Mr. Bollywood, show me how would you propose to your Juliet? Showtime. I looked at Juliet and said, oh, Juliet, you are the love of my life. Your eyes are as pretty as River Ganga. Your figure is as perfect as the Taj Mahal. Your breath is as fresh as Indian curry. Tell me, Juliet, tell me, will you be mine? If your answer is yes, just nod. But if your answer is no, just nod. And I'll understand. Cut, cut, cut. Oh my God, you're the best actor. You deserve an Oscar. I believed him for 5 seconds. And then I saw everyone laughing. Then I knew my dream to be an actor was definitely dead. I can never be a performer. So I did what anybody with a broken dream in the city of Amsterdam would do. Take up a job in finance. Now, finance professionals are really fun. They are curious, they are energetic, open to new ideas. You know, they only believe in data and numbers, and I'm sure when they sleep at night, they sleep with a spreadsheet on. And there I was, crunching numbers, making Excel sheets, wearing blue and black suits to fit in. And one day, and also attending town halls, finance town halls, that were as interesting as the Toastmasters annual general meetings. Not the one from yesterday, from past years. And one day we had to do a presentation within 24 hours notice, and everybody panicked. Nobody knew what to do. Something in me woke up, the performer. I went to my manager and said, can I do the presentation? Are you sure, Sabi? That was a yes, by the way. Use the existing slides. That was a no, by the way. I threw away those data-heavy slides. I put on my red suit, and I used a story that had opening, connection, laughter. And guess what? I saw my colleagues laugh for the first time. Agree. This never happens in finance. After the presentation, my manager came to me and said, dude, you should be the new CEO. Promotion? No, Chief Entertainment Officer. You do this so well, you should do more often. You should teach us. These guys liked my performance. Like, I thought to fit it in finance, I need to be one of them, those blue suits. And that day, I unleashed the performer in me. And people liked me. People liked my performance. And that's when it hit me, my friends. I do not need a movie set to live my dream. I can be a performer even in a boardroom with a clicker and a projector. A clicker and a projector. My dear performers in the room, too often we hold our energy, we hold our ideas because we think it's not appropriate for the room. My dear performers, let's not do that. Let's unleash that ideas. Let's unleash the energy. Yes, some days you will be trolled. Some days you'll be rejected. Some days you'll be made fun of. But trust me, some days you'll light up a room. Someday you'll make someone's day. And who knows, someday you may even change someone's life. So my dear performers, if life asks you, wherever you are, whichever stage you want to be on, asks you, are you ready? Just put on your red suit or put on your red dress, step on this stage, smile, and just nod. Contest chair.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching that. I want to clarify something. The articulation was excellent, so I didn't pause, but clearly there was a lag in our visuals, and I encourage you to watch the speech. Now, the just nod, this didn't land for us as an audience because we couldn't see what he did. So in the Bollywood, if you've ever watched, anybody raise your hand, seen Bollywood movies or familiar with the Bollywood? So a lot of the dancing is like how he was joking. Like, I had never heard the fix the light bulb, pat the dog, fix the light bulb, pat the dog. And then you saw how he paralleled at the end. Clicker and a projector, a clicker and a projector. The title was Just Nod because when he was proposing to his Juliet, a lot of the traditions in Bollywood, when he was proposing to her, he said, will you say yes? If just yes, just nod. If no, just nod, because that means kind of both in that culture. Where I lived in Bulgaria, it's the reverse of ours. So yes is yes, like you're smiling. That's how you say yes in Bulgaria. And how do you say no? No. It's like the opposite. And oh my, confusing. So Bollywood, well, fortunately, we only have 2 evaluators. That's good. Bollywood is, so then at the end, he says, my boss asked me to do this presentation, and I just said, that was a yes, and then you'll use the slides. That was a no. He did not use those slides. And at the end, you saw how the interaction with the audience went. So it was very clever how he used body language. If you have time or can make time, I encourage you watch it so you get the full visual. David, yes, what's up?
Ages, and they're incredibly popular in India. There was no show of affection ever. You couldn't have your protagonist and his.
Very strict.
So they would cut to the dance. This is where you get these big musical numbers instead of an embrace.
I think you should write a speech about it someday. He's giving us a recap for those of you on Zoom on some Bollywood details that I don't think I can summarize super well. Let's roll into our evaluations. We have 2 evaluators, and then we'll go back to our general evaluator. And Mike Licata on Zoom evaluating Jill. Mike Licata.
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Jill this morning. Jill, I want to congratulate you on finishing this path. You took us on quite a recap of your Toastmasters journey, and I have to give you all the credit in the world for starting at the beginning. When I emailed you earlier this week about what you wanted me to look for as your evaluator, I think you did a great job of just providing me some details. And one of the things I will say is is your speech was definitely, and it was certainly not boring this morning. I hadn't realized when you try to do this speech and we look at a 10 to 12-minute speech, it's a lot more daunting, but I think you did a tremendous job. And it was a tremendous example of going into greater details on some of your previous speeches to help you fill that time. I thought you did a great job, and it definitely enhanced your speech this morning. You have a great presence. You had a great presence behind the lectern, so I want to give you credit for that. Your notes weren't too distracting, and not to be hypercritical, but it is important to maybe try to step out from behind the lectern in terms of, or maybe using the lavalier marked microphone to help you better articulate certain parts of your speech. I know it's nitpicking because in a 10 to 12-minute speech you're going to need notes, but I digress and say it's something to look for because we always, as evaluators, have to find something to improve your speaking. That would be a little bit of it. The other thing I would do is, I know you prepared a lot for this speech. You did, it shows and illustrated, but one of the things that I think we need to do better as Toastmasters is to prepare to cut off our speech a little bit early. 10 to 12 minutes is daunting for most people, but I still think we need to be prepared to either cut certain parts out. If we need to reach an ending quicker, it's a better idea. I think that we always have to have contingency plans, but it's harder to do unless you really prepare for the speech. But I do want to thank you again for giving the speech this morning. I want to congratulate you on finishing this path. It means you're halfway to your DTM, and I know as a club officer, every finished path helps as we get towards those goals of distinguished club level. And with that, I will turn everything back over to our Madam Toastmaster, Kate.
Thank you, Mike. Let's roll right into our second evaluation by David Jones, evaluating Sam. David.
Thank you, Kate. And before I get started, I just want to agree with you on Stefano. I believe he's going to be a great president.
Stefano. I keep trying to say Stefano. It's Stefano. You're right.
Stefano, yeah, because he always says it's not like Gwen Stefano, it's Stefano. But I think he's going to be a great president. He's very down to earth and real versus I see a lot of leaders who get into lockstep and they have the message and they can't deviate from it. But I don't think Stefano's going to have the traditional message. So I'm looking forward to him being president. So Sam, congratulations on completing your icebreaker. For all of us, we've been there, and it's the most terrifying moment of our lives, and you've completed it. Now your next speech will be just as terrifying, but eventually it'll click and you'll be more comfortable. But congratulations on completing your icebreaker. When we do the icebreaker, it's to introduce yourself to the club, tell a little bit about yourself, and you did that. It helps us connect with you and support you, and you become part of the family, which is friends and family and Toastmasters. So welcome to the club. And once you got going, you were a little nervous in the beginning, but once you got going, you had great vocal variety. You had your eye contact and some hand gestures, and you articulated well. So that was very good. Now, you also, in your speech, you connected your running passion to public speaking, how it's the breathing and the practice and the exercise. So I thought that was a good connection as well. As your icebreaker, I don't have very much feedback for room for improvement, but what I will do is challenge you because this is a place for you to come and practice your speaking, especially for your sister's toast. That's a big thing. My home club, we had somebody practicing the toast for the father of the bride, and he did it maybe 3 times at our club, and he said it worked out perfectly. So I challenge you to practice your speech here at this club. And again, congratulations and welcome to the club. Back to you, Kate.
Thank you very much, David. From a timing standpoint, how are our evaluators doing? Did they both Meet within parameters. Uh-oh.
Okay, let's see if I can get this one right. Mike Licata, sorry, you went a little bit long. 252. That's beyond the buffer. So David Jones is our best evaluator this morning. Madam Toastmaster.
He copied Jill. He had to emulate. He said, don't go too long, like me. We often do that. So, best evaluator to you, David. We're holding these for the next time you visit, unless you want me to mail them. I still owe you things, I think, but we'll see you again soon. And why is May 1st and 2nd the same? It's okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Timer. And I would like to encourage a couple of things here for Sam. Definitely practice your wedding speech here as often as you like. And for next week's meeting, Jill reminded me, oh, as a vice president of education, not only am I responsible for contests, of course I help with the scheduling. You see the schedule out. Also, the paths and your projects and your education and the pathways. And so we'll do a recap at next week's meeting of the past 6 months. Since our fiscal year started July 1st and this officer team started July 1st, we'll give a recap of all the paths awarded, levels reached, how you've all been doing. And guess what? Who else we'll be recognizing, in addition to Jill, reaching level 5, is our second DTM times 2. Marty was our first, Marty on Zoom. Larry McKenzie reached his DTM number 2. So we will also be celebrating Larry next week. Congratulations, Larry, for reaching the Distinguished Toastmaster level. First on Legacy, and then he jumped right in 2020 when everything changed to start with the new pathways online. So we'll do that as part of our holiday party as well as the inductions. All right, Tracy, would you like to come and give a recap? And you can call reports or I can. That's your choice to kick back to me.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. We had a fantastic meeting today, and I have to thank Kate for stepping up at the last minute, filling in a lot of roles that weren't filled, and being able to make a really enjoyable meeting. Both of our evaluators did a fantastic job. They were both very similar in their evaluations, as both of our speakers have reached a brand new accomplishment. So they both of the evaluators had the grace to say, congratulations, you did it here at AM Lockport Toastmasters. Mike gave some really good suggestions for improvements. And I really liked how David did the same thing, except for it wasn't an improvement for a brand new speaker, but it was a challenge for a brand new speaker, which I really thought that was a good way to put that. I also want to say that both of our evaluators used our word of the day, so they did fantastic. And I'm going to be one of those terrible evaluators that's going to whitewash it because both of our evaluators did so good. And so I am happy to hand it over to Kate. I will let her finish up the meeting. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Tracy. Okay, how about we have our reports now? We have, and let's go in reverse of how the agenda meets. So Steve, if you'd like to come up on deck, I think we'll have Darcy give your master report while he's walking up here. Darcy.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I think everybody did a really good job today. There was only a couple of bloopers. For Bridget had a few, Sylvia had one, Tracy had one. For a Sam had one, Jill had one. But they were, that's not a lot. The other thing that I noticed was that there was a couple of people, 4 people actually, and I just did it too, repeated a word. Like Kate, you did it twice. I'll. Jill, you start a sentence and then you just repeat that word or word. Mike Licata and Tracy, but overall was relations.
Thank you, Darcy. All right, Steve, Quizmaster, how are we listening today?
Well, given the time, you'll be happy to know I only have about 5 questions. When did Jill join Toastmasters? I heard 16, 19. It was actually May of 2018. You're not paying attention. You say that like it's a bad thing. Not to me. When does Sylvia go to Florida? March. I heard March all over the place.
March.
March. When is Arbor Day? Last
April.
Friday of April. I heard it several places. What does Samantha do for a living?
RN.
She's an RN. I heard it. Full-time RN. And my last question. What anniversary is Kate celebrating? 5. What's the date? 12/12. I heard it out there. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Steve. Awesome. All right, back to Zoom land. How about a grammarian's report from our secretary, Maggie?
Good morning. I have a few notes. I'm not going to mention names. I think if I say the note, you'll know if you did it, and we can all learn from the note. So I'm just going to say the incidents. There's a word was used, pronunciate. It's not a word. People often create pronunciate by blending the verb pronounce and the noun pronunciation, but it's not accepted in dictionaries, but totally a common error. There was a phrase said, as I now was. Now, that's correct if you're referring to a moment in the past. I realized in that moment that I was now a different person. That would be correct. But if you're referring to how you are today, as you would be, it would be proper to say, as I now am. There was a phrase that I did really like. It doesn't matter how ironclad a plan is. And the phrase I like is, you may have to pivot. In fact, I'd love to have that on a t-shirt. You may have to pivot. Also, just to reiterate on the topic, using on is ideal because reiterate means to say something again, and on can sound redundant. Just to reiterate is cleaner, or even just to reiterate the topic, although just to reiterate is the cleanest way to say that. And those are my notes for today. Back to you.
Wonderful, Maggie. Thank you. And stay on deck to close the meeting. Young, as a word master, do you have a summary of who used the word today?
Michelle used once, Michael used twice, 3 table topicers used, and also 2 speakers used, and 2 evaluate used, and Kate used once too. Thank you.
Excellent word today, Yang, and thank you for that report. Okay, I will be here to help Maggie close the meeting and do the final awards. We know that by default, David Jones is our best evaluator. Let's roll to table topics. Best table topics, Bridget. Come on up and get your ribbon, Bridget. I love that we save these and we earn them like Jill mentioned today. And then thank you very much. And our top speaker today, Sam, come up for your ribbon. And the top speaker draws our 50-50, which is looking kind of sad today. I admittedly keep forgetting to bring $1. Wonderful job. Welcome to the club. Now draw this any one ticket and read the last 3 numbers. Who's the winner today?
102.
102. Anyone in the room? 102. And reminder, second chance, Mike Florio wins. And reminder, second chance to put in for your dues for 6 months. Maggie, back to you, and I'll handle the gavel.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and thank you to our speakers and evaluators. If there is no further business, this meeting of AM Lockport Toastmasters is now adjourned.